Brian, could you bring us up to date? What is happening currently?
Right, what's happening right now, as I mentioned, that a fully riveted ship, where do they send it? And they've managed to get the Albion dockyard, Albion shipyard, down at Bristol. Unfortunately, that's the nearest we could get. And of course, it is lottery money we're spending. And we are in a dry dock right next to the SS Great Britain, which is a nice partner to have. I mean, we're not in business with them, but that's where we are if anybody's got to make a trip down there. And they are rebuilding the ship's hull right up to the main deck, and the engines are going to be installed and all the bits and pieces on the lower deck. And then of course this is going very, very slowly, because riveting and modern standard of riveting, no longer do rivets get thrown through the air, red hot rivets get thrown through the air and someone catches them with a leather glove and installs them in a hole and bangs them with a hammer. Unfortunately, health and safety have banned all that. Now there's a new system now which is quite slow, and when you think there's thousands of rivets got to be installed on this ship, the earliest they will be finished at Bristol is next June or July. But it's gradually coming to life, and all those posh people with computers can log on to www.medwayqueen.co.uk, and we've got 2 webcams above the ship, and I've got people actually logging on a daily basis, because they said it's better than Coronation Street.
Yeah, I have to take a look myself actually.
And they're gradually seeing the ship come to life. Now, I must admit, I've had a look myself recently, and it does look like a giant Meccano set. I mean, I'm not condemning it, but that's the way it is. It is iron girders and bits and pieces. But I've got people, as I said, logging on daily and gradually seeing this famous ship come together. And it's a really, a lovely time to see these things happening. People ring me up and say, do you realise that the men working on the ship the other day had a tea break of 45 minutes, and of course they're being watched, aren't they? Because of the enthusiasm and the people, interested in the ship. And of course, we've there's just been the Dunkirk anniversary, and obviously the ship didn't go across there, but as we got a display van and a 12-foot mobile model of the ship, and we took that across to Dunkirk, and we was treated like royalty. We had people coming up to us telling us how their grandfathers was rescued from the beaches, and we was as I say, we was well looked after, and it was a memorial occasion. Now and also on the 3rd day we was there, there was the presenting of wreaths on the memorial at the top of Dunkirk Sands, and we put our memorial on there, wreath on there, and we inscribed it to all those that we had to leave behind. And there was people, dignitaries from all kinds of countries coming up to us, shaking our hands, well done. What was the confusing part, it was the Vichy French come up and said, well done. And I thought, well, Vichy France was on the other side, but I'm not quite sure on their history. So that's one of the latest things we've been doing. But back to the ship, it will come back the end of next year. It won't look very pretty. It will be just a hull and a few fittings showing, and the Medway Council are behind us, and they have offered us Gillingham Pier, which is Pier Approach Gillingham, to come in, and we will be there for a year, perhaps a year and a half, for what they call fitting out. Fitting out, of course, is to put all the bits and pieces inside, the rooms, the plumbing, everything inside, right down to the galley stove, and installing and putting in cups and saucers in the galley. So that's what's going to happen. And you might like to say, well, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Well, no longer do you go to Southend for 8 and 6. I'm afraid those days, ladies, they've all gone. And Kingswear Castle does that 4 times a year, but unfortunately he has to charge £30 odd. But it will make trips to Southend. It will make probably trade off of Southend. It will go to Clacton and trade off of Clacton. And if Sheerness likes to build a pier, we'll come here. Herne Bay, they have got a trust and are eager to build a pier. and we could even go there. So there's all kinds of things we could go on. Now, going back to the Medway Queen season, it was only 12 weeks, the height of the season. It started in June and it packed up in September. So what we could do, don't forget the Medway Queen has got 4 large rooms. There's the large restaurant, luxury saloon, as they was called, and we could have entertainment, meals, corporate entertainment, I think you'll find. And what I would like to see in the room forward, which is quite a large one, it was used during the war to bring the wounded troops on board, and it was used as a bit of a hospital, but many people died on those decks that are in the forward saloon, and I would like to see it made into perhaps a Dunkirk museum, because we haven't got one. And people will be able to come on the Medway Queen and stand on the decks that people died and remember Dunkirk. The other 2 rooms, well, we can sort them out. You might like to get married. How about you ladies and gentlemen coming on board and getting married on the Medway Queen? And of course, unfortunately, we would be licensed for funerals, which we have had before, but we won't go into that, that's too morbid. So that's all the different kind of things that's happening at the moment. The bottom line is it will be back down on the Medway the end of next year, and it'll be about a year's fitting out.
Are you looking for any volunteers, Brian?
We shall be towards the end of next year. As I said, that we're coming back to Gillingham, and then of course we will want all kinds of volunteers, skilled plumbers, painters, etc. But of course we need unskilled labour to do the other part of the jobs. And of course this is what the lottery are looking for, that we're actually educating people in these kind of trades and finding people jobs.
Right, let's have a little look. Events. I know you want to cover some of the events you're attending.
Well,
Brian.
the events, as I said, we've got our mobile display van, highly decorated, and that tows a 12-foot model of the Medway Queen, and we are really busy. We've been in about 2 or 3 carnivals, fetes and fairs even now. We are at the War and Peace show at Paddock Wood the week after next for 5 days, and of course we'll have time to fit in Sheerness Carnival, and we look forward to all our supporters, and please come and talk to us there, and we'll have a real good time. We're getting out and spreading the message, and I'd like to thank you, Daniel, for helping us out and get the message over to your listeners.
No, thank you for coming along and telling our listeners all about the history and what you're doing at the moment.
Well, this is it. It's a marvellous history, a marvellous story which I've been involved in all my life. As I say, I signed on when I was 15 and I'm now 72, and I haven't really left the ship yet, and it's part of my family life. Anyhow, once again, thank you very much.
That is Brian Goodhew here this evening, telling us all about the Medway Queen and the Medway Queen Preservation Society here at the Monday Night Community Show.